like an overall theme song. Okay. Because there's so many, like I could go so many, like it's like that's so like there are so many songs.
Pick one, just one.
I know. I'm like, okay. Okay, there are so many that are coming to mind. Let me think, because I want it to be right. Like I'm like, my theme song. Okay, I would say honestly, right now, just off the top of my head, without thinking too deeply. It's so
Wait, stop thinking.
I know. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna say on the top of my head right now, I'm gonna say
Welcome back. You're listening to the Nrgy Speaks Life podcast. I'm Coach Nrgy, the self-mastery coach, speaker, mediator, mentor, and author. This show teaches all about personal development and self-improvement for those who want to achieve self-mastery. Each week, I share tips, strategies, tools, and techniques that you can take action on same day. This week's guest is Dr. Shay Marshall. She and I will discuss everything there is to know about physical, mental, emotional, and the spiritual aspects of health and wellness. Dr. Shay Marshall, thank you so much for joining us today. Please let our listeners know a little bit about you and your connection to the things that we will be discussing.
Awesome. Well, hi, Nrgy. It is so nice to be here. Thanks for having me. And so a little bit about myself. My name is Dr. Shay Marshall. I'm a PhD wellness coach and a published author, and also the creator and owner of my health and wellness brand called Eat2GrowRich. And my background and the whole philosophy behind my brand and my approach is that it's really about appreciating the whole self. So when we talk about holistic health, we're talking about health, the connection between the mind, body, and spirit. And so I started my brand called Eat2GrowRich, and EAT is an acronym. It stands for emotions, actions, and thoughts, because those are the components that represent the mind, body, and spirit, right? So you have the spirit, which represents your emotional component. You have the body, which represents the actions, and then you have your mind, which represents your thoughts. And so my entire platform and my entire philosophy is really centered around adopting the habits that enrich the mind, body, and spirit through your emotions, actions, and thoughts. And so therefore we should eat to grow rich, because you truly are what you eat: emotions, actions, and thoughts. I've been a wellness coach now for about the last 10, 11 years. Really working with people on all different aspects of how to improve their overall wellness. So again, those are the things that are mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual related, because they don't exist separately. They're all kind of interconnected. And so if you are having issues in one area, the reality is that they're probably mirrored in other areas of your life. And so we really kind of have to look at treating the whole person. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I do. And that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Eat2GrowRich. I like the name. It's very catchy.
Thank you.
That is clever. Well, let's go ahead and start off with the first E, emotions, and that's connected to the spirit. So tell us about that connection there.
Yeah, so my platform says that basically, so if you know sometimes, right, like our emotions, even though that is a physiological response, a lot of times they are based on things that we sense. So it's like things that our spirit can pick up on. So my connection is that I say that the spirit produces emotions, right? Because oftentimes we feel things without having to see it, having to hear it. You just kind of pick up on things. And so oftentimes when we're looking at how do you improve your health, we also have to start with our emotions, because a lot of our actions and our thoughts are based on our emotional awareness, right? So sometimes when we talk about, for example, when we talk about adopting healthy eating habits, sometimes we tend to just focus on this is the type of food you should eat, this is when you should eat it, and how you should eat it. Well, before you even get to that stage, you have to start with what is emotionally triggering you to
Mhm.
eat certain foods. Because you can adopt any diet for a short amount of time. But what happens when you have a rough day and you're looking for that comfort? And oftentimes you want to turn to, that overindulgent food for that sense of comfort. Or what about when you get great news and you want to celebrate? You look for that overindulgence. So these are emotional triggers that shape the habits that we adapt. And so you have to look at how to satisfy yourself emotionally without these habits that are destructive to your long term.
Definitely. I am a big believer, and I actually do this. I created the habit. I didn't used to do this before, but I started creating the habit or routine now of where the first part of my day is just for me. And I don't get on any electronic devices. I don't wake up to check my phone, to check messages or send emails or anything like that. And even with my schedule, whenever I'm working with clients, my availability is not in that first part of the day either. So I've been very intentional with making sure that I do what I know works for me to start my day off on the positive side of the bed or on a positive foot in order to help myself as much as I can to maintain that throughout the day because you don't know what the day is going to present to you. But at least you can control that part of the day. You can control the beginning. You can control how you get it started. And then also you were saying that the main thing, which is the hardest part, is being honest with yourself. And that kind of brought me to thinking about my product that I have, which is a self-paced coaching program. And it talks about, it shares 7 keys to help people learn how to achieve their life's desires. And the first key is self awareness. And as you were describing it, it definitely made me think back to, yeah, sounds right. First key, self awareness, because
Right.
until you are aware of you, yourself, your triggers, the things that, make you choose A versus B, whatever it is, the things that either make you super excited or the things that make you really mad, that self
Right.
awareness piece, being honest with yourself, it goes hand in hand.
100%. Because before you can solve a problem, you have to first properly identify what the problem is.
Yes.
And then start figuring out the why
Yes.
and then address that. So yeah.
Definitely. And you have some people who may say, oh, well, I didn't do anything to this person or I didn't do anything, over here to cause this. You may not have done something intentionally to, you know, result in A, B, C, or D, whatever may have happened. But it could be your choice of the person or your choice of this thing or the fact that you allowed yourself to be connected to this person or the situation longer than what you probably already thought about not needing to be connected to. There's so many things in there where I say to people like you have to dig deep. You have to sometimes dig deep to find what your what did you contribute to that situation? What did you contribute to this problem? Because like you said, if it's involving you, you're connected some way somehow.
Yeah. How many times have you encountered something and you said, I knew that was gonna happen?
Uh-huh, right.
We be knowing.
Yes.
We be knowing.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Mhm.
as a doctor, I'm saying to y'all, we be knowing because we do be knowing. We know every time. And then you have to again ask yourself. So what I like to say is like double click. So it's like, on the icon, you double click, you open up something. If you like go into your photos right now, it's like double click into that. Like double click into why you knew that this is gonna play out exactly the way it played out, but you didn't trust yourself enough to take your own warning.
Mhm. Well, instead of trying to, say, oh, I'm not frustrated or whatever, like, no, embrace it because it's actually happening. And then from there, that's when you are able to gain control of that emotion and not let it go or get out of hand or go further than the frustration. So embrace the emotion and then start working through it. And as a reminder, we are only in control of what we can do. We are only in control of ourselves. And that means we absolutely can control our actions and the emotions that we are feeling, but we have to be willing to do the work. That's another thing that a lot of people are, that causes a lot of people to just kind of have a lot of the issues that they do have, is that they're not willing to do the work. They're not willing to face whatever it is that is needed and necessary to improve the situation or to get on the other side of this obstacle. You have to be willing to do the work. And being lazy from an emotional standpoint, being lazy from a mental, doing the work mentally, you can't run from it. And definitely,
I think oftentimes what holds us back is either is fear of the unknown or fear that the change won't last. So oftentimes people, most times people aren't just like starting their healing journey or starting trying to get healthy, right? They've tried so many things before, and maybe they got some progress or they got some results, and then they hit a speed bump or they hit a plateau, and then the weight came back, or the mental health issues kind of came back. And so sometimes people are kind of scared to get started again because they've already felt that feeling of like letting themselves down, and they don't want to disappoint themselves again. And then I think the other aspect is that sometimes people are scared of the unknown. Like they're scared of making this change because they're not sure what's going to happen on the other side. And then ultimately what they both stem back to is just not trusting yourself. But I always tell people, don't expect commitment from others if you can't commit to yourself, because people are a mirror for you. So if you're one of those people who say, I'm gonna start on Monday, and you never start on Monday, you almost can get mad when your partner says, I'm gonna do this and doesn't, I'm gonna do this and he doesn't do it. He's just reflecting back to you the same energy that you're reflecting back to yourself. How many times do you say, oh, I'm gonna eat healthy this week? And then the first time that you don't have those groceries in the fridge, you running straight to the drive-thru, or you calling Uber Eats. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, honor your commitments to yourself. Especially if you keep seeing that not being honored in your external relationships, look at yourself. Where are you being disloyal to yourself? Where are you not taking the best care of you that you deserve? If you're sedentary, you're not moving, that body needs to move. You got to get up and move it. If you love it, if you say you love it, it's like if you're talking to your partner. If you say you love me, you'll do these things. Your body is saying the same thing to you. If you say you love me, you'll get up and move me, because I can't move without you. I need you to help power this thing. You know what I'm saying? So again, look at those things. But going back to step one, self-awareness. And so cultivate that so that you just get real honest and real with yourself. And then you'll be like, yep, I did tell myself that I was going to do that and I didn't do it. And I've been doing that for years now. So I probably need to shift that so that I can start to fall deeper in love with myself. Because the thing is like this self-love thing, it is an evolutionary journey, perhaps. And so the more that you start to demonstrate your love for yourself, through your emotions, your actions, and your thoughts, you start doing that, your reality starts reflecting back that to you. And you start falling in love with the process, because it's like, how else can I take better care of myself? You know what? It's not, oh, I gotta eat this salad. It's like, I notice that when I eat fruits, it's very gentle on my body. It's very easy for me to digest fruits. Or I know that like my body doesn't like these things, or I get cramps when I eat those things, so I don't eat that. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm gonna choose this because this is what actually feels good to digest, and I'm not sleepy after I eat this meal. I have the energy and the vibrancy to get up and go. My body loves a fresh juice. So I'm gonna get up and make a fresh juice for my body this morning, because I love my body enough to do that for me. And then guess what your partner do? It's like you're gonna meet that energy in yourself, but you gotta really live in it. You can't just talk about it. And a lot of our frustration, a lot of our problems stem from the fact that we are not self-aware to realize that, like, no, we are doing the thing that we think everyone is doing to us. You think he's being disloyal. No, you disloyal to yourself. You lie to yourself every day. You know you're not comfortable. You know you don't feel good. Why aren't you doing anything constructive about it? You try things. Well, get you somebody that embodies the results that you want and help and ask them to help. How about that? Go on YouTube, because there's infinite amount of videos on YouTube. Go on YouTube and look at someone that has had a transition that you want to embody. Adopt some of their habits. How about that? And then commit to it. And I always tell my clients too, we often say commit to the process. I always say trust the process. I say, no, commit to the process and trust the results. The results gonna let you know if the process is working.
Your choice. Absolutely.
Your choice.
So
Yeah.
that's a perfect segue. Let's go ahead and go deeper in that. And let's talk about your actions and the connection to the body. So what are some suggestions that you can give to a person when it comes time to taking action?
Awesome. So the way I like to look at actions, a lot of times we talk about again, actioning outward. I think that the most important actions you can take are the actions inward. And so I actually have published a book called The 3F Effect, and it's how to lose weight quickly with fruit, fasting, and fitness. But it's really a book about how to generally improve your overall health, because understanding that weight gain is a result or a byproduct of unhealthy habits, right? So these are the things that cause you to gain weight. And so this book is really about laying the foundation for the actions you need to take in order to improve your health, because also fruit, fasting, and fitness also serve the mind, body, and spirit. So, and we break that down in the book. So for each section of the book, we talk about the mental health, the spiritual health, the physical health, and the components for how these individual components work to help you get healthier. And then we also talk about the synergy and the combination effect of them working together, and how transformative that could be. So when we talk about actions, I always coach my clients to look at improving the actions that they are taking to really improve their body. Because again, my whole premise is we are mind, body, and spirit. You are a whole you, right? There's the mind, there's the body, and there's the spirit. And so when we talk about the actions are really those behaviors that are targeted towards your body. So this is fruit, fasting, and fitness. And this is, again, making sure that you're eating a natural diet, because we are natural beings. We come from nature. And it's also important, too, to think about the fact. For me, I try to keep things simple, and I try to explain it in a way that makes it simple and easy to understand, right? So when we talk about what is healthy food, because every company in the world will try to sell you something and tell you what's healthy for you, and you look over at them ingredients and you try to figure out, what is this? So again, a very easy thing you can do, because again, the power is yours. A very, very easy thing you can do is start getting really curious about the things that you're eating. So you got a favorite food you love and you can't let it go. Look at those ingredients and then literally Google each one of them and just read what they are. And then also, if you want to double click, when you read on what they are, also start looking at their impact to your mental function, how your brain functions, because you'll realize that a lot of these preservatives and a lot of these chemicals so a lot of these natural flavor enhancers like MSG, how they actually work is a form of brain control. So these substances are designed to make you believe that something tastes better than it actually tastes. And that is why you are eating, or you can't stop eating them, because it's now not just a matter of oh, this feels good for my body, or oh, it's satiating me. It's oh no, my brain is being satisfied by this chemical right now that makes me want more and more and more. I'm getting this dopamine hit. I want more and more and more. And then you start thinking about what other things operate like that. And you're oh, that's how people become addicted to other drugs, right? It's this mental stimulation. It's we know that these drugs aren't beneficial to the body. You can walk out on any, major street corner and realize oh, the people who are on those substances is actually not benefiting them, right? But again, we are also kind of stuck in our own world where we're eating these foods that are toxic, that are altering our brain, and we're not realizing, yeah, maybe it's not the same dose as it is as some of these other substances, but you are also dosing these things over a period of time. And then you have to look at like, what are the long-term implications of that? Well, the long-term implications of a lot of these chemicals are mental deterioration, because you're getting this artificial dopamine stimulation. And then we wonder why so many people have mental health issues, why so many people are depressed, and why so many people have anxiety. And it's like our brain is being altered by these artificial chemicals that we consume every day, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day. So if you ever want to get curious about some things, start looking at these ingredients and then start looking at, okay, what are the implications of these ingredients? Because again, you don't have to take my word for it. The information is out here. You just have to be willing to accept the truth when you read it, instead of trying to convince yourself that like, no, it can't be that bad. Well, look at everybody else around you. You know what I'm saying? We're not getting healthier as a nation. So let's start there. So again, if you're ever curious, if you want to keep it simple, you say, okay, what is healthy, right? Ask yourself a very, very simple question. Who do you think could make the best food for you, man or God? Riddle me that. Let's start there. Do you think anything that comes in the package with a label can be healthier or better for you than anything that comes from nature? Who's smarter, man or God? Because God didn't create these things. Okay, so that's the food, that's the fruit. Fruit is one of the healthiest, most nutritious products that you can consume. It also benefits the mind, the body, and the spirit. So we can get deeper into the spiritual aspects of fruit, but I think that's a different conversation for a different day. Then you talk about the fasting. Fasting is important because you need to give your body time to rest. You should not be consuming the entire time you're awake. Okay? The longer you can give your body time to rest and digest the food, the more fat you're going to burn, and the more optimally your digestive system will work. So you need a fasting component in there, and you can decide. We explain in the book all the different types of, all the different variations of fasting and how you can adopt it into your day-to-day. And then last but not least, fitness. Fitness is one of the most important things you can do for your body. Why? Because again, if you don't use it, you will lose it. And you have muscles for a reason. You should be moving them, exercising them. I advise there are 3 primary types of fitness. There's cardio, there's strength training, and there's mobility. Your fitness regimen should contain some component of all 3 of those elements throughout the course of the week. So you should have some mobility exercises, whether that's intentional stretching, whether that's yoga, things of that nature. You should have some intentional strength training and some intentional cardio. You can also combine your strength training and your cardio. So for example, especially for those with very, very tight schedules who don't have a lot of time, you can do things like the Stairmaster, 15 minutes, arm weights, ankle weights. You're going to be tired. I'm telling you right now. It's going to be enough for your workout for the day. 15 minutes, Stairmaster, ankle weights, wrist weights, ankle weights. Game changer. You need, if you don't have a lot of time, combine the 2. Again, it's efficiency. We talk about this in the book a lot as well. Like, how do you maximize these things? How do you put a plan together? But try to incorporate, try to have also, especially if you're looking to burn fat, strength training is going to be one of the most important components that you can adopt, because strength training, as you burn more, as you build more muscle, you naturally start to burn more fat, even when you're not working out. And then also with strength training is great for when you are actually, after you complete your strength training exercise, your body is still burning calories for a longer period post-workout than it is the cardio. And then third, last but not least, when it comes to fitness when it comes to strength training, is that strength training is what's going to give you shape. So as you're burning the fat, you're going to be burning fat between the fruit and the fasting automatically. You're going to drop weight quickly. We're talking fast. But the fitness and the strength is going to give you shape. It's going to give you definition. It's also going to make sure you don't have a lot of loose skin. So you need to have a strength training component in there. And again, if you don't have a lot of time, combine the strength training and the cardio together. Get you walk with weights. Put a weighted vest on. Figure out a way to add some resistance into that workout. That's going to get you the best results. It's going to have your body feeling the best. And also, too, lifting weights releases the happy hormones like endorphins, serotonin, which makes you feel good, which is why a lot of people in the gym talk about that gym high. It's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? So again, fruit, fasting, and fitness, these are the actions you can take, again, that bring the body back into alignment, that show love for your body, that take the best care of your body. And I'm sorry, are gonna be the components that get you to that future version of yourself.
Yes. Now, where can they find that book, The 3F Effect?
The 3F Effect is on Amazon, and it's also on my website as well. My website is www.eat2growrich.com. And so both of my books are available on my website as ebooks. And then if you're looking for a hardback or a paper copy, you can order them from Amazon.
Nice. Definitely. Anyone who just listened to those 3 F's and the way that she broke it down, fasting, fruit, and fitness, it's intriguing. Make sure you go check it out. Amazon or the website, eat2growrich.com. Alrighty. Now, I know that we've talked a lot about the mind already and having the right thoughts, positive thoughts. Let's go ahead and transition to that last letter of the T for thoughts and connecting it to the mind. We've talked a lot about it already, but just wanted to see if there was anything else that you wanted to add in there regarding this new section.
Yeah. So with T and thoughts, again, this is really about the intentional shift in your mindset. So as you're encountering certain things, you can choose to see them any way you want to. And so a good way I like to think about it is like, if you think about like witnesses at a crime scene, right? Depending on who you talk to and what angle they saw, they have a different belief about what they believe happened. You can treat yourself in the same way. So you can choose to see things differently by just intentionally shifting the mindset to align with your emotions and your actions. So a good way I like to think about it, especially I use this framework a lot when I'm coaching my clients through the 3F effect, because again, the 3F effect is really about how do you adopt the behavior to get you to a healthier point. And we also talk about Eat to Grow Rich and that kind of philosophy in the book as well, because it serves as the platform. But one of the things that you can think about is, so again, like mindset. So let's say you're working towards a goal and maybe you're not, or you're reaching towards a target. Like I want to make certain amount, or I want to lose certain amount, or I want to weigh certain amount, right? You're working towards some type of target. As you are adopting the right actions, right, through the 3Fs, your fruit, fasting, and fitness, you're identifying your emotional triggers, you're meditating, you're doing the things to get your emotions in alignment. You also should think about how you're going to think about certain things. So like we talked about earlier, right? You can see certain things as a sacrifice, or you can see it as like celebrating not participating in that behavior anymore. So instead of saying like, I can't eat fast food anymore, you could also say, I'm really happy I don't eat fast food anymore. Because now you have something to feel proud about yourself. Like now you have something to feel proud about. Like, yeah, I don't eat fast food anymore because I realized that behavior wasn't curating the best version of myself that I wanted to be. I also understand that my past behaviors created my present self. And if I'm not happy in my present, then the first thing I should do is try to figure out how to create a better future by taking different actions that are going to get me there, right? So you can look at these things instead of being like sacrifices. You can look at them as like, find a way to celebrate yourself, because it really does start with your mindset, right? Or you can say, one of the things that helped me early in my transition was, I had this situation one time. It's a funny story, actually. So I remember when I first kind of transitioned and started making healthier choices. I was living in Washington, D.C. at the time. And if anybody's watching from D.C., you kind of know how D.C. nightlife is. So D.C. nightlife is like, at that time, and I'm definitely not going to age myself, so I'm not going to say the era, but at that time, it was definitely like U Street, which I'm sure it still is U Street, Allen Morgan, so that's where you would go to hang out at night. And so I remember having some friends come in town and visit me, and it's like I love to show people around my town. I love DC. So I was like, I love for people to come. I would love to show them out, take them about. So I had some friends come up, they were visiting, and I had just started making that transition to like eating healthier. So I was like, making a change, doing better, but still very much so like in the lifestyle, just like not partaking. So I remember had some friends come over. We were out till like 4 a.m., partying, drinking, having a great time. And at 4 a.m. in Adams Morgan, because I think by that time we had like made it further down East Street, we were kind of Adams Morgan. So like at 4 a.m. at Adams Morgan, if you're drunk, you want food. And if you're in Adams Morgan, you're going to get a jumbo slice. And if you really are about that life and you know where to go, you're going to do teenies to get you a jumbo slice. You're going to do teenies to get you a jumbo slice at 4 a.m. That's what you do at the time. I don't know what it's like right now. I haven't lived in DC in a while. But that's what you would do at that time. And so I was like so excited. My friends be out partying. Okay, cool. I'm gonna take everybody to my spot. This used to be my spot, but I'm not partaking in it on. So I take everybody to my spot to get their jumbo slice. You know what I'm saying? Before we take it back to the crib. And I remember I'm sober because I wasn't drinking. Again, I was really like, I'm committed to these changes right now. So I wasn't drinking. I definitely wasn't eating, that or whatever. So I was like just sitting there in the little, in the open area while everybody was like ordering their food. And I just had a thought. And I was like, because I started noticing certain trends as everybody was coming into the restaurant at 4 a.m. to get this jumbo slice of pizza, right? I started noticing certain patterns like, oh, okay, and with all due respect, I'll say like you start noticing like, oh, certain weights, like there's a certain size of people that are here. There's a certain level of like unhealthy that is like here right now at 4 a.m., right? Like if you're counting everyone that's coming in, because it's busy, right? So like as I'm noticing everyone that's coming in, I'm just noticing like an obvious health issue. Like, and I could visibly like see it, like, And then I had the thought, and I was like, I wonder where all the healthy people are eating right now at 4 a.m. Right? And then it dawned on me that like, oh, they're probably not eating at 4 a.m. after a night of drinking. They're probably at home sleeping because they're going to get up and go for a run in the morning. They're going to get up Sunday morning. If you live in DC, like there's a Sunday morning run thing. You know what I'm saying? Like people run and stuff. I'm saying like, no, they're probably getting up Sunday morning to go run. So they're not doing that right now. And then I was like, oh, so if I want to be healthier, then I probably have to start adapting that behavior and not my former behavior, which was do teenies at 4 a.m. I have to now be more like them, because that's what I want. Like those are the results I want. You know what I'm saying? So as I started transitioning, I realized that my thought was like, what would a fit person do in this situation? And I started thinking like that. And I started seeing myself as a fitter person. Like, oh, my future self probably would not be having to do teenies at 4 a.m. Because sometimes we like to think, right? And it's a common theme I see with a lot of clients is they'll say, well, how long do I need to do this for? Well, how long do you want the results to last? You do it for as long as you want the results to last. So that's why I said that's why my plan, and that's why also the 3F effect is very flexible, because everyone's not going for the goal. You know what I'm saying? Like there are different levels. There's a beginner, intermediate, and advanced option, because maybe you ain't going for that, but you should understand that there is some level of sacrifice that you're going to have to commit to throughout the duration of your life if you want to maintain these habits throughout the duration of your life. And that's why it becomes a lifestyle change. So that's why I love 3F effect, because it gives a framework for how to make these lifestyle changes and gives you different degrees to which you can adapt. So maybe you might be someone that wants to do teenies, or you want to do that, every once a month or something like that. Well, you should also understand that no matter how frequent you do it, there's gonna be some negative repercussion from taking unhealthy behavior. Like no matter to what degree, no matter how often you do it or don't do it, if you participate in unhealthy behavior, you're gonna get an unhealthy result. That's really just that simple. So you have to make a decision to say, okay, either this is how I see myself, and I'm gonna choose the actions and the behaviors that align with who I see myself to be, or not. And that's okay. But, just figure out what change you can make that you can adapt to be part of a lifestyle and not just a temporary change. Because I think that's what also feeds into that fear of failure, and also feeds into that like distrust for yourself, because maybe you tried to bite off more than you can chew. Maybe you should take it in bite-sized pieces so that you get comfortable, you get more acclimated, give your taste buds time to adjust, so that some of these, some of these healthier eating options become easier to maintain, and just kind of work with yourself through that process, and then kind of advance as you go, instead of like trying to do everything overnight and then crashing and burning. Like, just kind of take it in bite-sized pieces. But it starts to, the important part of that is your mindset. How do you see yourself? Who do you see yourself becoming? And I will say that like I'm very happy that I had those experiences and that I adopted that mentality that many years ago, because I think that I would definitely be in a different situation had I still participated in those things. Especially kind of when I look around at my peers and stuff like that, I'm like, there are certain things, we're kind of getting to that age now where people are high blood pressure, diabetes, on some type of regular medication. And I know 100% that it's because of those decisions that I started making, over probably 12, 13, 14 years ago, that are kind of putting me in a different predicament, in a much healthier predicament, where it's like, that's not something that I have to deal with. But what helped me commit to that change was shifting my mindset and starting to look at certain things honestly and being like, okay, they tell us that this is how we're supposed to eat, but I'm looking at everybody that's eating this way, and I don't want to look like that. I don't want that lifestyle. I don't want that result. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that. Like, I don't want that. So then I had to say, okay, cool. Who has what it is that I want? Mm-hmm. What are the people that are running around the Capitol on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m.? What are they doing at Saturday morning on a Saturday at 4 a.m.? And then guarantee you, they were not in bikinis. I didn't see a single fit person in that place. They were not in bikinis. They might have been somewhere else, but they weren't there. So definitely know jumbo slice at 4 a.m. does not get you those results. And another thing I want to say too, because I know there's somebody watching, I can hear it now, saying, because such and such do this, and I see this person, and they do that, and I'm going to tell you right now, you keep it listening to the exception and not the rule if you want to. Everybody want to look at the one exception. My grandpa lived to 97, and he drank and smoked every day, and he ate pigs, and he ate bacon for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The exception, not the rule. And also too, just because you made it to a certain age doesn't mean that you enjoy that quality of life. You also got to ask, what type of surgeries have they had? What type of illnesses have they overcome? What type of cancer did they fight? What type of medication are they currently on? It's like, to live to a certain age is great, but what is the quality of your experience like? So, and don't give me the exception. Give me the rule, because 99% of the time, you're talking about somebody that don't get the same results that you get. You know what I'm saying? You got a whole different result. You looking at this person saying, oh, they can eat everything and they still skinny, but you not. So you got to figure out, like, that don't apply to you. That apply to them. The majority of us need to eat healthy if you want to be healthy. It's really that simple. And the more that you try to skirt around that or try to get around it, you're not going to get the result.
Awesome sauce.
Check it out.
You heard it here. Make sure you check it out. We are going to get more of your information towards the end. But for right now, let's go ahead and segue into the fun segment. You down?
Yeah, let's go.
Awesome. Alrighty. So this is where I'm going to ask you 2, maybe 3 random questions that have nothing to do with what we talked about today. And this is just an opportunity for our listeners to get to know you a little bit more outside of everything that we've talked about. So my first question for you is, what is your biggest pet peeve?
That's a good question. What is my biggest pet peeve? That's a good question. I will say, like, in what regard though? You got to give me more. Like, what's my biggest pet peeve? Like with myself,
Or something that
like
other people may do that's just like, ugh, or whatever.
I would say, okay, this is again, because this is kind of also how I coach. So my biggest pet peeve, we're gonna keep it on me because that's the only thing I got the ability to control anyway. One of the things I can say for sure, I'm definitely working on, and I also had this like really big epiphany last week, which is why I tell people too all the time that like even as a coach, we're still learning and growing, and you should want your coach to still be learning and growing because knowledge is, not knowledge is infinite. Like you cannot, there's no finite amount of things that you can know. One of the things I'm still learning and growing about with myself is my level of patience. Um, and so, and how that looks for me sometimes is one of the things I realized about myself was like I found myself getting frustrated with someone because like I felt like they were like asking me the same question, like they weren't getting it quick enough. And this is someone that was like trying to get me to explain something to them, and it was like I emailed them and explained it, and they wrote me back asking me this question. And I was just like, did you read the email? You know what I'm saying? And then I realized like, oh, this is me. This is a me thing. Like this is a me thing because I've actually only explained it one time. So it's a lot of information. It's a very, very complex subject matter. So I'm like, okay, I get it. And it's like one of my colleagues, you know what I'm saying? So like one of my colleagues reached out and was like, can you explain that? And I was just like, wow. And then I realized that like, oh, that's something I do with me. Like I feel like, oh, I'm supposed to know it already. Why am I still just not figuring this out? Like, why am I still learning? Like, why haven't I figured this out already? Or why haven't I like got that under my control, And I realized like, oh, this frustration that I'm feeling for them is also the frustration that I feel with myself. And then it made me realize like, this is actually an opportunity for me to acknowledge that. Like, I feel like this is an opportunity for me to acknowledge that I need to have more patience with myself and appreciate the fact that it's like, oh no, that's the whole point of life. Like, is the journey, is the experience. Like, it's not about arriving at the destination. It's about the path you took to get there and like everything you encountered and learned along the way. And like, while I conceptually understand that and while I intellectually can process that, I found myself in this moment where I wasn't in alignment with that belief. That like, oh no, it's about the process. So I was like, oh no, come back, girl, because you ran off. Come back, get back on track, and realize that it's like, no, you need to show yourself the same amount of grace that you're showing this person. This frustration has actually nothing to do with her.
Yep.
It's
Nice.
really me. So pet peeve
There
is
you go.
impatient with myself.
That's good. Absolutely. Self-love and grace. There you go. One more question for you. What would be your theme song?
That's a good question too, because I feel like I do. So I actually live my life to theme songs.
Okay.
And like, yeah, like even like so I even did this thing where I created a playlist, like, because I've gotten really intentional about the music that I listen to. So I did this thing where I'm like, I created a playlist where it's only songs that I like and lyrics that embody what I would like my reality to be or what I feel like my reality currently is. So even though I might like a certain type of music, like in certain environments, in my home, I only play like this one playlist or whatever. And so it's like so many different theme songs because I'm living like every time one plays, I'm like, ooh, yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like on my, like when I run my errands and stuff like that, like I'll put a song on loop. Like when I'm walking through like the city and stuff like that, I'll put a song on loop. And like it is my theme song for the day or for the moment or like how I'm feeling or the energy I want to project, and it'll just play on loop because it's a favorite song I love. But I feel like if I had to have like an overall theme song, okay, because it's so many. Like I could go so many. Like it's like that's so like there are so many songs.
Pick one, just one.
I know. I'm like, okay. Okay, there are so many that are coming to mind. Let me think, because I want it to be right. Like I'm like, my theme song. Okay, I would say honestly, right now, just off the top of my head, without thinking too deeply. It's so. Oh
Wait,
my
stop
goodness.
thinking.
I know. I'm like, okay. I'm gonna say on the top of my head right now. I'm gonna say maybe Bodie Odie Delicious Angel by Outkast.
Okay.
I'm going with that's my theme song. Don't ask me why. I can't explain. I can't elaborate. But I just know, like when I play that, like when that beat hits, like the first, like when it's just like it just creates a vibe and a mood, and it's like it's so black and it's so sexy and it's so chocolatey and it's so southern. It's so like it's so like yeah. That's all I got right now. But I'm like, and there are certain lyrics that are like, I'm like, okay, that's fine. We'll run with that. But I'm like, I feel like I could also just name like also 10 more songs. So, but we're gonna go with that because I feel like without knowing me, if you wanted to understand like who, like if you wanted to understand who I am at my core and where I came from, that'd be a good song.
Nice. We'll take it. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for participating in that little fun segment.
Yeah, it's fun.
We are
There's
going
some
to.
good questions. I'm like, oh, you made me think. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, but okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Good stuff. So let's go ahead and give our listeners, if you have any final nuggets, one nugget, one takeaway that you may want to leave them with, something that you may have forgotten to mention, or if you just have one words of wisdom, one quote, one saying, a motto, whatever it is, this is the time to share one final takeaway.
I would say my one final takeaway is like, do whatever you can in this world to make sure you love yourself the best out of anyone because no one's going to love you better than you. And understanding that love is an action word, it's a verb. So make sure that all the things that you do, that they are in alignment with loving yourself. And I know that might be difficult for some, and it might also be difficult if you're just not getting started in a self-love journey. But understand that we have been conditioned to hate ourselves. And I hate to be so blunt about it, but we have been conditioned to believe that we are not enough. Every product that they're selling you that with the implication that it's going to make you better. I want you to understand that you are enough as you are. You are worthy of so much and so much more and deserving of so much. But understand that that starts with you and you have to be that for yourself first and foremost. And there's nothing wrong with that. So if I can leave anyone with anything is to love yourself and to show it daily through your emotions, actions, and thoughts because you truly are what you eat. So let's eat to grow rich with Dr. Shay Marshall. Okay?
There you go. There you have it, folks. All right, Dr. Shay, for those who want to continue this journey with you, please let everyone know where they can follow you, how they can support you. If you have any other, I know you mentioned you have 2 books, any other books that you may have out there that you may be working on, any coaching, any classes that you have, this is the time to shout yourself out and promote your stuff.
Okay, well, thank you for that. So if you do want to get in touch with me, I am available on all social medias under my platform, Eat2GrowRich. Again, that's EAT, the number 2, grow, GROWRICH. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm also on Facebook. I'm also on YouTube as well. You can also find me on my website. So again, www.eat2growrich.com. If you want to email me directly, you can email me at drshay@eat2growrich.com. And so, yeah, that's pretty much how you can get with me. Again, I have published 2 books. They do kind of work together as a companion set. So I have a book called The 3F Effect, which is how to lose weight quickly with fruit, fasting, and fitness. And then I also have a book called Flush the Junk, which is a comprehensive guide to enemas and detoxification. Because one of the things that we should be aware of is that as you are transitioning to eating healthier, it is important for you to have some type of internal cleansing protocol that will help to aid in the detoxification. Because a lot of the foods, a lot of the processed and unnatural foods that we have consumed are full of preservatives and they're designed not to rot. And so they also don't rot in you. And so what's important to understand too is that if you have a little belly, it's probably not fat as much as it's just like undigested. undigested, unprocessed food. So everyone should have, I don't care what you eat and what you do, you should have some form of regular internal cleansing. And that can look like a variety of things, which we describe in the book. They're both available, like I said, on Amazon.com, and also on my website at www.eat2growrich.com. And so, yeah, that's how you can reach me.
Awesome. There you go. Everyone, make sure you go support. Once again, I want to thank you, Dr. Shay Marshall, for your time today, all of the valuable information and insights that you shared with everyone. I don't care who you are. I don't care how old you are. I want you to know that everything that she shared is still just all about health and wellness. And we all, as human beings, can take advantage of the information shared today. You have tuned into the Nrgy Speaks Life podcast. If you yourself want to be a guest, please go to my website, nrgyspeakslife.com, get on my calendar, and let me know that you would like to be a guest to share your experience, your knowledge as well. You already know what to do. Go ahead and hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, and remember, when you master your mind, when you master your emotions, and when you master your assignment, you can live your purpose and live on purpose. Until next time, Coach Nrgy, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.